we're going to do one more question before we open it up to the floor, and I'd like to introduce Asantewaa and Nkrumah-Ture.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Because I'm going to talk loud. I want to be heard. I want Mr. Krasner to hear us. All right? So again, my name is Asantewaa Nkrumah-Ture. I'm a community organizer here in Philadelphia. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you, the audience, for coming out to this event. It's very important for you to be here, and I hope you will continue to come to such events and continue to be organizers. So, Mr. Krasner, I'm a member of the Justice for Tyree Carroll campaign. He is the grandson of one of our members who was beaten up by the Philadelphia police. And also one of our other members, she is the mother of Carrington Keys, the son of someone who was abused by prison guards at SCI Dallas. So while we know you cannot comment on specific cases, it's important for us, the public, to know what a district attorney can and cannot do legally. So my question is, what exactly can a district attorney legally do regarding corrupt police officers and their union, the Fraternal Order of Police? Also, what can be done about abusive prison guards? And lastly, so we can get to the audience, what can a district attorney's office do legally when election fraud is investigated, noting the case of the special election in March of this year in the 197th district here in Philadelphia, where it was documented several instances of fraud and voter tampering by the Democrats, and it happened several times throughout the 197th district. And we thank you very much for coming and listening to the public.
And I thank you for having me. You know, it's really kind of simple. If you actually treat people in an even-handed way and you charge them with crimes where it's appropriate, and they're rich or they're poor or they're famous or they're not famous or they got a uniform or they don't, it's kind of simple that way. That's not what has happened in Philadelphia for a long time. It is a fact that there has been a lack of accountability on the part of people in law enforcement, whether they were police or they were prosecutors or they were prison guards, for a very long time. I mean, honestly, in my view, the district attorney's office has taken its marching orders from the police union ever since Frank Rizzo, who, as many of you know, rose from being a beat cop to being the police commissioner to being the mayor, while his brother was the fire commissioner. And for reasons that are really political, meaning most DAs want to run for something else, they have taken instructions from whoever was in charge of the police union for a long time. I understand saying that kind of thing is a good way to hurt yourself politically. I don't really care. And I don't really care any more than when people told me I was politically crazy for filing 75 civil rights lawsuits against law enforcement in those instances where I felt they were corrupt or they were abusive. That is what I did with my career. I was checking every box to make it impossible for me to run for anything, and lo and behold, here I am. So sometimes you just got to do what's right, and you got to not worry about it. The last time Lynn Abraham charged an officer with shooting someone illegally was, I think, about 11 years ago, something like that. I think she only charged one in her entire 19 years. And my theory is she was on vacation and somebody was probably filling in. That case was also thrown out. I mean, that's just the reality of what is going on with this system. It should not be that way for a whole lot of reasons. First of all, it's unjust. But another reason is it creates a scenario in which police can't solve crimes. And the reason they cannot solve crimes is because neighborhoods and individuals in the city have no faith in the police department. They have no faith in the district attorney's office. Cases are lost in front of juries because the juries look at police witnesses and say, I don't trust you. And they look at the prosecutor and say, I really don't trust you. And by the time they're done, you're much more likely to get a not guilty, even on a case where someone has done something terrible and really is guilty. I mean, I had a conversation with a judge not too long ago who told me he did 12 jury trials in a summer, and there were 12 not guilties on those 12 jury trials in that summer. That comes from somewhere. It comes from the same place as don't snitch. Well, why not? Because young men are tired of illegal stop and frisk. of being humiliated because they're poor and maybe they're black and they're brown, but they're searched for nothing. And they're searched for nothing over and over and over. And they watch it happen to their friends, and they watch it happen to their dads, and they watch it happen to their little brothers. And they get to a point where even if they might have wanted to be a really good cop, they don't want to do it anymore. And even if they have information that might stop a shooting, they just feel like the police are not with them. So this kind of stuff, this attitude of not holding police to the same standard, corrupts the system at every level, because it divides communities from law enforcement, and there are plenty of good cops out there, and some bad ones too, but it divides them, and as a consequence of dividing them, the whole system breaks down, and that's why you only have a 37% rate of clearance, meaning a rate of actually solving homicides, while other cities have a rate that's more like 60%. You have that because of these awful tactics, because of this fundamental corruption, because of treating one group of people like they're special and treating everybody else not very well.
Mr. Krasner, the voter tampering and the voter fraud that happened in the special election under 197 in March of this year, don't forget that question.